What's up, everybody? This is Alex Christopher from the Duran, and I'm going to be doing a video on the Novichok Gatwick Airport timestamp controversy. All right, so I did a video the other day with Peter Lavelle, and we tackled the Novichok poisoning news that the UK authorities have found the Russian culprits who supposedly and allegedly poisoned the Skripals, as well as 2 drug addicts and a police officer. 5 people were allegedly poisoned with Novichok. 1 person, the drug addict, died from the alleged poisoning. Now, there's a lot of holes in this whole Novichok story. Theresa May was in the parliament, acting very prime minister-like after her ridiculous trip to South Africa, where she was mocked for her dancing ability. But basically, they're blaming Russia, and they're saying that these 2 guys are GRU agents, Russia's Secret Service and military intelligence, and that they traveled on a direct flight from Moscow to London, hung out, and from London to Salisbury, hung out in the UK for a couple days, walked around town, I guess did some sightseeing. Very inconspicuous, very normal activity. Then they either poisoned the Skripals with gel on the door handle, and they put it in a perfume bottle, which they later threw on the street or in some trash bin, which the 2 drug addicts found. And there was Novichok all over their hotel room as well, but of course it was a low amount and no one could get hurt from that Novichok, even though the Novichok, according to Theresa May and the UK authorities, is absolutely deadly military grade. Meanwhile, you have the Pordentown chemical lab, which is a couple of miles away, that actually has Novichok and makes Novichok. And so you have a lot of holes in this story, but this story has been thrust back into the spotlight right before Russia helps Assad liberate Idlib in what is considered the final battle to eradicate the Obama, US, CIA, UK, French-backed ISIS, Al-Qaeda jihadists. And this battle is ongoing right now, and it's a very tense situation in Syria. But Russia now has been thrust into the spotlight again with this whole Novichok. I call it a hoax. I don't know. You guys can comment down below and let me know what you think of this Novichok thing. But yesterday, Craig Murray came up with an interesting find. And let me get the screenshot for you. In his article, it's called The Impossible Photo, Craig Murray makes the case that the 2 Russian agents were entering Gatwick Airport, were entering the entrance towards the exit out of the airport, and they were photographed by a CCTV, and they were photographed at the same exact time, at the same exact spot, down to the very second. And you can see on the timestamp, and let me show you, here are the photos. You can see on the timestamp right here, 16:22, 43 seconds. This is by the Metropolitan Police. They've confirmed these photos. And that's arriving Petrov at Gatwick Airport at 1500 hours, the 2nd of March, 2018. And then you get to the second photo where it's the other alleged Novichok assassin. Same timestamp, 16:22, 43 seconds. Now let me take you through Murray's article, and let's go over this a little bit more in detail. The CCTV images released by Scotland Yard today allegedly show Alexander Petrov and Ruslan Boshirov both occupying exactly the same space at Gatwick Airport at precisely the same second, 16:22:43, on the 2nd of March 2018. Note, neither photo shows the other following less than a second behind. There is no physically possible explanation for this. You can see 10 yards behind each of them. Neither has anybody behind, or at least 10 yards. Yet they were both photographed in the same spot at the same time. Now, he's making the claim, and I'll show you a comment in the threads of this article later, that during the airport hustle and bustle, people are obviously exiting out of the Gatwick luggage area and the terminals, and there's no one to be found anywhere in back of these guys or anywhere in front. Of course, once again, this could be explained that there was no one around. Maybe it was a downtime as far as arrivals go. But I'll show you some comments that address this theory as well. And now Murray goes on to say, the only possible explanations are one of the two is traveling faster than Usain Bolt can sprint, or number two, Scotland Yard has issued doctored CCTV images / timeline. Now, Murray says that he believes these images are doctored by the Metropolitan Police. He adds an update here, and this is a lot of what I was alluding to before. That a lot of people saying, well, they were just happened to leave from two different exits, and the camera caught them leaving at the same exact spot, at the same exact time, the same exact second. Now, I've traveled a lot in my life. When you travel with friends and you exit out of two separate pathways out of the luggage area or out of the airport, I can't remember when there was no people in back of me or in front of me, and I also can't remember a time when me and say a friend were exiting the airport and we exited at exactly the same exact time. Now there's also claims, and Murray makes the case that one guy had wheel luggage, the other guy had a backpack, so it's kind of interesting that they were both traveling at the same speed. But let me take you into his update real quick. And his update says this: a number of people have pointed out a third logical possibility, that the photographs are not of the same place and they are coming through different, though completely identical, entry channels. The problem with that is the extreme synchronicity. I want to point to the extreme synchronicity. You can see from the photos that the channels are enclosed and quite long, and they would have had to enter different entrances to the channels, so it is remarkable that they were at exactly the same point at the same time, especially as one of them appears to be holding wheeled luggage and one has a shoulder bag. Now, Murray says, I have traveled through Gatwick many times but cannot call to mind precisely where they are. Can anybody pinpoint the precise place in the airport? Now, people did pinpoint the exact place in the airport, and here it is. And this is the channel, the exits, one of the exits out of Gatwick, and you can see what it looks like here. It looks like you have three channels leading out of Gatwick, and here's another post from a commenter, which could also be where they left. This one looks more believable. You can see the metal bars as they exit, and you see three, possibly four, I don't know, back here, but you can definitely see three different channels out of Gatwick as you exit. And so this is the exit point that Murray was asking for people to show, and you can find that via Google, and I'll put the links down below so you can take a look at that as well. Going back to Murray, the only part of the airport this looks like to me is shortly after leaving the plane after the bridge and before joining the main gateway to passport control, in which case passengers are not split into separate channels at the stage this was taken. I can't recall any closed corridors as long as this after passport control, but I'm open to correction. And so I've traveled Gatwick a couple of times, but I can't recall at all what the makeup of that airport is and how the exit points look. This one right here, this link that someone said, this one right here does look like it was that exit point. Even though it's obviously there's a lot more light to this one, and the photos taken by the CCTV are very dark and very murky. And going down to the comments section, one of the commenters on Murray's site, Murray's post, David KNZ, said this, and he says, this is from MOA. MOA, I think, is referring to Moon of Alabama. This is an obvious fabrication of evidence. What they did was take two photos from the same tunnel using the same camera at different times, but the camera rotated about 20 degrees between them. Notice the slightly different fisheye lens distortions. Afterwards, they flipped one of the images horizontally and added timestamps to the images, but forgot to change the times between them. I reversed the process and aligned the images and made a GIF animation to prove it. See it here. Okay, this is the GIF animation that this guy made. And here it is. You can see he has both of the photos. He seems to have placed one on top of the other. Let us know if you think this looks like the images that I showed you from Google of Gatwick, of the exits. Once again, like I say, they're very murky and they're a lot darker, these CCTV images. But it looks like one was put on top of the other and then they flipped it. So it looks like it's the same corridor, and then they flipped it. So the timestamp on one of them over here, you can see, is reversed. So it's an interesting find that this guy, this commenter, made. And then we go to Moon of Alabama, which has an article on the timestamps of these photos. And one of the commenters posted by M. Droy says, These are the times of day when 2 passengers could arrive at an empty airport, enter 2 different tunnels at the same time, and arrive at exactly the same second at equivalent gates. Not many times, because it means that there is no queue at either tunnel. And 16:22, 4:22 p.m. is not one of those times. 4:22 does sound like it would be a very, very busy time at any airport in the world. So this goes back to what Craig Murray says. This goes back to what I said earlier in my intros, that it's very strange to see 2 guys caught on CCTV at the same time, at the same spot, the same exact second. They were both logged on the CCTV and photographed, and there's no one in back of them, no one to the front of them. There's no people anywhere queuing up to leave the airport at 4:22 in the afternoon. Once again, this can easily be explained if a lot of coincidences went exactly right, i.e. these guys walked the same exact way out of the airport at the same exact time in lockstep to be photographed to the very second, together, leaving at the same time. Meanwhile, there's no one around them anywhere to be seen as they were exited. That could be the explanation. And so the title of the video, as you guys will see, is this a conspiracy theory, or is this the real deal? Is this a cover-up? Is the Met, is the police, is the UK deep state, are they covering this thing up? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. We really want to hear from you guys. Going through all the comments on all the various sites, there's so much interesting information and so many interesting explanations that people have about what's going on here. Anyway, guys, if you liked the video, click on the subscribe button down below and click on the notifications bell to get notifications every time we push out a new video. And please visit the Duran shop, pick up a t-shirt, help support the Duran, and help us keep broadcasting videos to you. And also feel free to donate to our PayPal. You help keep us broadcasting, help keep us going, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing for this channel. Until next time, take care.